Hey everybody, how are you? Chris Lomberg here. Hey, just checking in. First of all, hopefully you guys are doing good with all of this social distancing and quarantining. I know there's a lot of stir crazy people out there, but hopefully you're finding continual things to keep you occupied, going on lots of walks, hopefully some hikes, but stay away from each other. So let's continue to do this until we get past this thing and get back to some sort of normalcy. So I just want to update you. I know that I said a few weeks back when I started doing these weekly market updates, just wanted to provide some kind of big picture information to make sure that you're educated in regards to what's going on with our market. And so if you have anybody that has questions that you kind of talk with in conversation, not that you're actually having meetings with anyone right now, but through Facebook, text messaging, family, friends, anybody's thinking about moving from out of state, this information can be really vital to help them become educated in regards to what's really going on. And again, this is all high level stuff. So if you know anybody that has any specific questions, feel free to have them reach out to me. I'm happy to give them a consultation. We do a Zoom call and just connect and make sure that they're fully educated on what's really happening right now. So I'm going to share my screen as I always do. And as I talked about before, the information that I'm using is through a program and data subscription called the Cromford Market Index. And so the Cromford report, the use of the Cromford Market Index is really helpful to help us understand what's really going on in regards to the supply and the demand, which is what's going to be a leading indicator before we see anything change in regards to pricing. And so that's the reason that I follow this pretty religiously daily to see what's going on and to track how our supply and our demand is changing in light of the current COVID-19 pandemic. So this is a new chart. I haven't done this one before, but this still shows pretty clearly in regards to historically, this goes back to 2001, how our supply and our demand has changed and where we're at right now. So you can see this was our run up to the crash, and this was our crash where our supply went way over what our demand was. As our demand was going the wrong direction, our supply was going up. So as you can see, that's between 2006 and kind of 2009. Kind of the dark part of our recession back about 12 years ago. And you can see what we've done over the last 10 years. You can see how our demand has stayed pretty much above normal. We had a season in 2014 and early 2015 where our demand dropped, but our demand has been pretty consistent seasonally throughout the last 5 years. You can see where we're at currently right now. We've dropped, this is since COVID-19. So this was our COVID-19 moment right here when everything changed. And you can see we've dropped slightly below normal, 4.6 below normal to be exact. But you can see what our supply has done also over the last 5 years. And our supply has slowly dwindled to where we are still below 50, just barely over 50% of what we should have normally. And the gap here that we see between our supply and our demand is why even in the current season where it feels like things are changing, we are going to continue to see prices increase. The only way that we will see prices level off or even decrease is when these two lines come together. You can see right here, we had a little period of prices stalling. We didn't see depreciation here, but we saw some prices stalling. The only time that we've had depreciation is when this red line goes above the green line and stays there significantly. We are a long way away from that. The combination of this chart is what gives us the Cromford Index. And so on this next chart, I've done this one before, our supply and our demand together gives us an index number of 183. When we're at 100, that's when we would be in balance. And you can see we're still way above normal. Yes, the trend has been declining over the past 30 days. And right now, overall as a market, we're at 183. But what I want to share too is that's an overall market picture. If you actually go to some specific cities, especially in the East Valley, which I've highlighted here, this is our Cromford Market Index over the last 4 or 5 months. And you can see in December where we were at, Chandler, Mesa, Gilbert were all just over this 250 point. Queen Creek and Tempe were closer to 200. And you can see the similar charts that each of these cities have had over the last few months. We're all kind of trending the same direction. But remember, even though our Cromford Market Index as a whole is at 183, Chandler, right now you're at 280. Gilbert, you're at 271. Mesa, 250. And still above 200 for both Queen Creek and Tempe. So these East Valley cities, which I know a lot of you are either homeowners in or potentially looking to purchase or sell in, these areas are still well above the average in regards to the rest of the area. Everywhere else right now is at 183. So again, this is still going down. We're going to track this. And again, this doesn't mean prices are going to go down. Remember, we have to get below 100 for a significant period of time for prices to drop. We can't predict what's going to happen with this, but this is why we're in kind of staying ahead of the game as agents, especially the ones that are kind of empowered with this data to really help educate to make sure that you know exactly what's going on. Anecdotally, what I've seen as an agent right now, we have seen a lot of a lot of buyers kind of come out of the woodwork realizing that this is the best situation for them as a buyer that they've had in quite a long time. An offer that I wrote last week, we fully expected to get a counter offer on. There were no other offers on the table, and the seller accepted our offer straight out, and we got some closing cost assistance as well, which has not been something we've been seeing in recent months or even years as a common expectation for buyers. So anyways, it's a great time for a buyer. It's still a great time for a seller. We don't have a lot of listings out there, and so competition is very sparse. When this COVID-19 ends, and we don't know when that's going to be, we're likely going to see a bunch of listings that we're planning on coming on the market here in April and May that are kind of pent up and will likely come on the market when we get back to normal. And so this isn't a bad time for listing a house as well. If you have any questions, let me know. Happy to answer them and look forward to chatting with you guys soon. Thanks.